Hi, my name is Susie Christensen and I am Chief of the Iowa Supreme Court. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak at this special event entitled Grad to Gavel. I'm sorry I cannot be there in person, but when I was given the opportunity and noticed it conflicted with my calendar, I was asked if I would present a presentation on video, so I'm happy to do that. It's my understanding if I were there in person, I would probably be asked some questions and I could respond. So I apologize for not having that format, but keeping that in mind, I have an idea of some questions that might have been asked, so I will just do some discussion in general, and I am hopeful that I can touch all the bases that you are interested in hearing about. In a nutshell, I am born and raised in Harlan, Iowa. I did not know I wanted to be a lawyer until after I had been a legal secretary for a few years. I then started my undergrad and then law school and started practicing law in 1991. I'm a graduate of Creighton, and while I attended Creighton for 3 years, I commuted from my hometown. That made sense to me because I had little kids and it allowed the grandparents in our hometown to help me with my day-to-day activities as a mom while I tried to balance that with being a student. And my husband was also finishing up school to be an optometrist. So I had an unusual path to becoming a lawyer, but regardless of what our paths are, I did know pretty early that I thought I wanted to be a judge. So I really like the topic of this conversation, Grad to Gavel, because if you have any interest whatsoever in becoming a judge someday, it does begin as soon as you receive your diploma as a Juris Doctorate. And in particular, I'd also like to talk about the diversity on the bench, whether it be gender, race, or all of the diversity that we can muster is necessary. Our state is not one gender, our state is not one race, our state is not one age. We need to have diversity on our bench to adequately represent the people that we serve. I am now on a bench of collegiality with 6 other individuals. For my first couple years, I was the only female on the bench. And while I'd like to think that we are all, of course, equally qualified to be sitting there, we bring with us different life experiences. And my life as a woman, as a mom, as a wife, I believe has certainly added to the flavor and to the perception by all members of our court. We all bring with us our personal and unique circumstances. So in the practice of law, diversity is important as well. I think you will learn, if you have not already, that some people seek us out as lawyers because of who we are. Maybe you're a strong community member. Maybe you're a mother of a handicapped child. Whatever those reasons are, some people specifically seek us out because of our differences with maybe someone else. So diversity in the practice of law is incredibly important as well. Now, as an attorney, what should you do to prepare yourself to someday be very well qualified and deeply considered for a judgeship? First of all, cherish and guard your reputation. That no client's request is worth your legal degree. I have been asked more than once to do something that I knew right away. My tummy siren went off and I knew that's not right. And so it was really easy to say, no, I won't do that. Doesn't matter if they're going to pay me. Doesn't matter how much it's very important to them. I would never compromise my reputation to help somebody else gain a little bit of skin in some game. So I would encourage you and implore that you cherish and guard your reputation. Also, get involved in your profession as well as your community. When there's opportunities to get involved with the Bar Association or other areas of the legal practice that you're particularly interested in, that will help you grow. Also, get involved in your community. I think whenever you are interested in a judgeship, you will learn from talking to commissioners as well as our governors. They want to know, what kind of a human being are you? We're not just lawyers. There are other aspects of us that are important in considering who would best serve on the bench. So do those community involvement, whether it be school board, city council, chamber of commerce. I'm naming things that I have done. All of those things help us understand better what is important to Iowans and shows that we are truly interested in making things better. It's also really important to keep track of your accomplishments. While you're living that crazy life, it may seem very obvious, but as time passes and your commitments change and your involvement changes, it's kind of hard to scratch your head and go back in time and articulate exactly what you've done. Keep track. The first time I ever applied for a judgeship, I was probably too young, too inexperienced, but I did. and I filled out the application. And when I did not get out of commission, the next time I applied, I used that older application and I added to it. And I soon learned I needed to start keeping track of things that I was doing. If I spoke at a CLE or if I became a member of a committee or something, I started keeping track on one piece of paper in a drawer in my office. And then the next time I applied, I would add that to it. It makes it much easier. And if you haven't picked up on it yet, apply again and again. I am probably one of the poster children for never say I give. I've been told no 14 times. 3 of those times were by governors. The other times were by commissions. And on the other hand, I think a lot of people know that I come from a family of law. That certainly did not necessarily equate with opening doors for me. It was tough. It was really tough. And sometimes I wondered, and so did my dad, did that perhaps maybe even hold me back just a little bit? Was there maybe an assumption by some people that because of my family history with law, that I had not done the things I needed to do? So sometimes I felt like I did even more than many people to show that this was about me. So no matter how many times you get disappointed, with a smile on your face, say thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to another time being considered. Now, those are reasons why it's important at the level of being a lawyer. Once you are on the bench, it is important for us to have diversity on our bench. As I mentioned earlier, when I joined this court, I provided a lawyer that had not been in our court for 8 years, that from the perspective of a woman. I think it's important at the trial court as well as district associate judge and juvenile court. We need to have faces on the bench that represent and understand the people that we are dealing with. And so I am hopeful that all women, all races, any different background will consider themselves for the bench. So in conclusion, I'd like to say, as I started, Grad to Gavel is a fantastic name, and I wish this had been going along when I was young and looking into it. I would have taken notes, and I would have wanted the world to know I am interested in becoming a judge. What can I do to improve my chances? So I am hopeful that all of you will take out your pad and pen, start writing down your accomplishments if you haven't yet. Get the application, start filling it out, because it's difficult and it's kind of hairy, but it's definitely important to start keeping a track of what you've done so that you can brag to the rest of the state of Iowa what a great judge you would be. Thank you.